Idiot.
Hi, everybody. It's Kelly.
With Heather.
And today, who's living in the present moment? Who is actually allowing themselves to live every moment right at this moment? And Heather has been looking at me with cross eyes, and she's finally said, "Turn on record.
Right.
Let's quit talking like this and let's just start talking about it." And so here I am, and let's see where it takes us.
See where it takes us. Okay, so I am looking a little cross-eyed. Forgive me, people, because I do have allergies today. So if you see me looking a little cross-eyed, a lot of it is that. The lovely Texas winters is so great for allergies. Yay, me. However, Kelly brought up a point. Somebody had asked
Oh,
you, "Hey,
yeah,
Kelly,
somebody
how's your
actually I had
weekend?
five
What'd you
people
do?"
ask me, like, how
And
was your weekend? And I literally stopped and I was like, I guess it was good. Because I could not remember what I did. I couldn't remember at all, not one thing. And finally, I was like, okay, Sunday, Saturday, Friday. And then I was like, oh, yeah, Friday night. And I remembered what I did Friday night. And then Saturday, couldn't even remember. And then I was like, oh, yeah, we had our holiday party. And then I went and got my nails done. And then I went to a women's circle. No, I did that on Sunday. Heck, whatever. See?
yeah,
And then Sunday morning, we we talked from 7 to 11.
yes, we did. Well, the
And
point of this is for you, you had made the mention you couldn't really remember because you were in the present.
Mhm.
And
Yes.
I just thought, but were you enjoying the things? Like, I want
Mm.
to remember the good things in my life and the good things that we did. So my confusion comes from when you had asked me what my earliest memories were, and they were from childhood, and they weren't necessarily the happiest of memories. And you said that's because you weren't in the present then. And
Present moment.
I'm just confused because I in my head, in the personal development realm, they always try to live in the present moment,
Mhm.
be here now. So in my head, that means I want to focus on the things that I'm doing today. I want to enjoy what I'm doing. I want to be intentional with what I'm doing, not just going through my busy, busy day. Because let's face it, this past week, I was swamped. And even though it was not a terrible week and it ended up being totally fine and it was a good time, I couldn't tell you what happened on what day. So you
You
tell
didn't even
me
know
that.
what day it
I
was.
didn't. I was like, what is
Thank
today? I
you.
don't know. But that's my whole point. Why is
Mm-mm.
that so good? I want to
Because
remember the good.
you know what? You can remember the good. Okay. So like now when I had questioned you, okay, so what do you remember about last week? Well, you can stop and go, wow, everything went really smooth. We only forgot a couple of things. It was great. We set up. We had really good people come in our tent. We had people that needed our service. It was awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
There was a couple of things that had happened because you were like the medic tent or whatever. That's like where
We
they
were
went,
running it. Yeah. We were running a sports recovery tent.
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
And yet you did not really know what day it was. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So
Very
when you
true.
live in the present moment, that
Mm-hmm.
means that
Mm-hmm.
you are actually flowing with God's purpose.
See, therein lies my problem. I just sit there and go, Was it God's purpose for me to spend my entire week, 13 hours that entire day, every day, rubbing people's sore hammies and stretching their glutes and it was very tiring. So it's just that's what I kind of am getting at is that's really interesting thought about it. Was I really in God's purpose? I mean, really in my purpose? I was in my serving my purpose in the
You
sense
had
that
to
I was
be
serving a
there.
service.
You
You
had to
know,
be there.
I had to
Okay.
be there.
All right.
Yeah.
And you were in whatever capacity you needed to be. All right. And so you just did what you had to do to make sure that it was successful because up until that moment, you were stressed. You didn't
Mm,
know like how it was going
yeah.
to turn out.
Yeah. It's very
Oh my
stressful.
gosh. I
Mm-hmm.
just hope that everything is okay. I'm just not sure how the setup day is
Mm-hmm.
going to go.
Mm-hmm.
And as you went through your week, it just unfolded.
It did unfold. So I can definitely give you that. I definitely had to live in the present hour by hour, athlete by athlete. So I can give you that for sure. I guess I just look at it as it wasn't terrible. It was enjoyable. The people were enjoyable, and the people that we worked with were enjoyable. So what's my problem? I don't know. What's my problem, Heather? Why can't you
There's
say it was amazing? I okay, I could give it. It wasn't bad. It was. I was thankful that it went the way that it did for sure because we had to pull off a lot of things to make it happen. I'm glad it went the way that it did. So I did live in the moment and in the present every day for that.
you came out on the other end unscathed. Let's
Yeah,
put it
I
that
did.
way.
In fact, I gotta admit, boy, the Saturday night when I was out of there, because I didn't have to, there was one more day on Sunday, but I wasn't gonna have to be there. I walked into the office and I was dancing. I was dancing and I'm like, it's done. It's done. I did it. I did it. And I looked at the other people and went, tag you it. It
That's
is
right.
on you tomorrow. Peace out. Hallelujah.
Right. And it was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. It was 6 days.
It was
Okay.
a long time. Yes, it
And
was.
you knew already that it was going to be a lot of work, but you never knew how you were going to be in the present
Yeah,
moment
very
with
true.
it.
Yeah, because
Okay.
we definitely could not, what's the word? Predict. We couldn't predict how it was going to
Correct.
go. We'd never
Huh?
done something like this before. We couldn't predict if people would use our services. We couldn't predict if they would be happy. We couldn't predict our volunteers slash interns would do a good job or
Be
that they
so
would be
amazing.
excited. And yeah,
Right.
there was a lot of things we could not predict. And so we just did. And it did. So maybe
Mm-hmm.
that's the whole thing that's a great topic of conversation is when you're living in the moment and you're living in the present, you just do without predicting because we don't know what
Without looking in
the
the
end is
future
because you don't know
and
it.
looking in the past, because there was no reason to look in the past
Yeah.
and there was no reason to look in the future.
Well, there's no reason, but more than that, there was no history.
Okay. Perfect
Mm-hmm.
example.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect
Mm-hmm.
example. And if you live in that moment, I mean, I felt like this past weekend, I lived in the moment because those five people that asked me how my weekend was, I just stared at them like deer in headlights. I literally I had to like I had to start on Friday and like go, Friday, I worked. But what did I do that night? And then I was like, oh, yeah, I did family constellation. And then Saturday, I mean,
What did I do?
it was just, it just kind of, it flowed.
Yeah.
It flowed so easy,
So give me
so
some
easy.
so give me some benefits of that, of
Oh,
living in the moment as
okay.
you define it. Give me some benefits.
Okay. To me, I'm not bringing anything from the weekend into my week.
Mm.
Nothing happened that was a tragedy. Nothing happened that threw me off the rails. Nothing happened that was cause for alarm. Let's put it that way. Okay. And I did ask you earlier, I said, okay, if you go back and you think of the first thing that you can think of, it's going to have some type of tragedy, some type of embarrassment, something that has triggered you. And you're like, oh my
And,
gosh,
and it did. Yeah.
yes, yes. And you said your brother jumping in
Yeah.
the,
Yeah. I was a kindergartner. We had kindergarten graduation. And I remember eating Cheetos. And I somehow jumped in the pool. I don't know why we were around a pool. Jumped in a pool, or maybe I fell. That I don't remember, but I do remember my brother, my older brother, jumping in after me saying, "Heather, I save you. I'll save you." I do remember that. I wasn't drowning. I have full recollection. I was not drowning, but the thought that he jumped in, I mean, that's a good memory for sure. It just, yeah, why
a
that
good
one?
memory, but it triggers you.
It
It
did
triggered
trigger.
you
Yes, it did
because
trigger.
you were like, I'm not drowning. I'm not sure why you're jumping in here to
Yeah.
save me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is up with that? Why do we remember? And we're still working on benefits. Why do we remember the things that trigger us more so than the things that were so enjoyable?
It's almost like we go to heaven. Just to say, it's like heaven on earth. It's like, okay, when you're in the flow and you go and you do and you be and you do and you have whatever you want, or not even what you want, it's what is before you and you don't even know that you want it. You know what I mean? It's like something will happen and it's like, oh my gosh, I never would have thought that that would happen to me. But it was amazing. And then you just kind of keep going with the flow. And when you have that flow, it is. It's like heaven on earth. It really is. I used to describe it like that when I was younger. Somebody would ask me something and I'd go, "Oh yeah, it's heaven on earth. It's heaven on earth. Yep, that's what it looks like." Because there's nothing happening. And of course, I lost that real quick.
Yeah.
And then I started getting, well, I jumped into a pool on top of talking about pools, on
Mhm.
top of the lifeguard. I literally, when I jumped in, I jumped on top of him. I didn't realize he was coming up.
Uh,
And he scolded me and told me I could never get in the pool again that day. I walked
wow.
a mile and a half home all by myself, and I was 8 years old.
Wow.
Hmm.
That's definitely triggering.
And that triggered me.
Hmm.
And then, gosh, there's so many triggers. Like I couldn't wait to go on this field trip when I was in fourth grade. And I got sick, very sick. and could not go. I was devastated,
I bet.
devastated. I remember that. There's, I remember nothing else about fourth grade, nothing.
So maybe part of the benefits of living in the present, not remembering, is maybe you get to have more chances of not remembering the not so good.
Right. And it's moving forward quicker.
Okay, let's talk about that. Moving forward quicker. When you're in the flow of things and you're
Mhm.
focused on being intentional every moment of whatever you're doing, you
Yes.
move along through it.
Yes.
All right, I can get on board with that.
Absolutely. And you are being prepared. For instance, I go to Family Constellation and I meet I met probably five or six people because I love to go and introduce myself to the people that I've never met.
Yep.
And
Yep.
and two of them live like right down the street,
Oh, nice.
like, live in my area. And I was like, oh my gosh, y'all are like right down the road. And then this one woman said, hey, I'm doing this. I'm a coach and I'm going to do this women's circle. Why don't you come? And I was just like, well, how cool is that? So I went and she was telling me her background and where she's come from and everything. And then the next day, something presented itself, and I was like, oh, I can call her and find out what I need to do or if she can help me. And it was interesting how she was put into my space when I was being present in the moment. And yet, when something triggering happens, I think, oh, I just met her. I bet you she can help me.
Hmm.
And text her last night, talked to her, like it just like is flowing. And that's what I feel like being in the present moment is. It is going with the flow. Now, I'm not saying don't focus,
Right.
don't keep your eye on your intention, your goal, make sure how are you going to manifest what you want? What is it that's in front of you that you want to do? What does that look like? I'm not saying put that aside. I'm saying just keep with it because you're like this.
Yeah.
And when you come up against something that is going to derail you, trigger you, cause you to go, why did that happen to me? What is going on? Then that's when the waves start coming in
Hmm.
and the waves come over the boat, if you will. And then you remember it. When you don't remember what you did, that means everything was in the flow. Everything was going steady. Everything was headed towards your intention.
I guess it's true. When I think back of the moments that I remember the most about this past week, they definitely are the ones that were triggering. The ones where we had a medic call and I didn't quite know what to do. Well, yeah, I'm
Mm-hmm.
gonna remember that.
Mm-hmm.
But it's the other times, the rest of the time, yeah, it just went.
Mm-hmm.
Time just went.
Mm-hmm. And so when there is time, it's interesting because that's a whole another podcast.
Yeah.
Time.
Yeah.
When we are when we do not care about the time, then that is when it just goes.
Would you say too that at that moment you are in the process or in the state of being of embodiment,
Totally.
right?
Totally.
When we
Oh,
talk about
absolutely.
embodying being a CEO of a company, embodying being a fantastic dater, embodying whatever it might be,
Yes.
you
Yes.
are in the flow of that. You're not having to second guess of, ooh, was that the right decision? Ooh, was that,
Yes.
you are literally stepping into the space of being that person with full capabilities, so that your capacity is at the end of it is going to like skyrocket as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Okay. I can I can get on board with that as well.
Yes. And it's interesting because I read, this is my book, everybody,
Woo-hoo.
The Light Bearers Chronicles. I know it's kind of funky. Here we go. I'm going
There
to
you
put
go.
it
That's
over here
better.
so that you
Yeah,
can
yeah, yeah.
see it. I just got in the paperback, and I actually have a hardback right here. So if anybody wants to order them, they can do that at our website, kellynewland.com. And they are less than Amazon, and they will be live by Friday.
Woo-hoo.
Yes, yes. I was reading my story again because I thought, okay, I'm going to read this again just to kind of feel where I'm at. And it was trigger, trigger, trigger,
Mm.
trigger.
Like everything you put in it
Yes,
was
was triggering,
triggers.
was triggers.
Huh.
Yes,
That is interesting. Well, but it is a journey, right? They were
yes,
stories of journeys.
correct. And then by the time I got to where I'm at right now, putting together real conversations with Kelly, having Kelly Newland Global go live, having my website, kellynewland.com, knowing that we are going to launch A Year to Be You next year. It is, it just feels it. That's all I can say. It
Mm-hmm.
just feels. There is not a moment where, I'm talking about moments where I'm like, okay, it's perfect timing for everything. Perfect timing. And I don't feel like there is another time that it needed to happen. I know that I had talked about that on another podcast where I'm like, why didn't I do this earlier?
Oh, right.
Why didn't we
Yeah.
start this earlier? The flow. There were a lot of triggers. There were a lot of things that were happening. And when we thought that we were in the flow, we were actually in the triggers, if you
Mm-hmm.
will.
Mm. Oh, I love that. We were in the triggers.
We were in the triggers. And then
Yep.
that makes us spicy.
Yep. It certainly does.
And then that derails us, and we have to pick ourselves back up
Mm-hmm.
to where if we just breathe into the moment and breathe out everything from the day and breathe it in and breathe it out and breathe it in and breathe it out.
Mm-hmm.
And then be in that moment of stillness, so much will happen. So much will happen. And you will be prepared because you already sensed that you did not want to put your attention onto the triggers of the day.
Right.
That's why
Hmm.
that's why everybody always says do your gratitude journal at night so that you can actually see where you are grateful.
And
Now
those
you
just might
might
be in the flow versus the
correct.
triggers. Now, you can be
Correct.
grateful for some of the triggers,
Yes.
but those gratitudes, when you have to stop and think about it, are the flowing moments, the present
Right.
moments that
Right.
you can then be thankful for. That's great.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And the story that I told in this book, I am
Mm-hmm.
so grateful for.
Mm-hmm.
So grateful. I am grateful. I'm grateful for my mom and dad. I am grateful for everything that happened to me last year, even though in the moment, wow, I was shocked.
Yeah.
I was more shocked than anything else. My anticipation of being fine turned into something totally different.
Mm-hmm.
And I got spicy with myself
Mm-hmm.
because I got really triggered. I got frustrated. What am I going to do? I'm going to have to do something totally different now. And I've already been gluten free and I've already done this and done that. And now it's like, wow, thank you, God, for everything that happened to me
Mm-hmm.
because I would not be here. I feel like I would be a statistic of someone working out and falling dead.
Wow.
That's just my thought.
Wow.
Because I had no symptoms. I didn't feel bad. I was breathing fine. I never never ever ever felt off anything.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And here I am because I took the time to take care of myself and I was in the flow.
Love it.
So
Your thank yous
here's
and your
here's what I have
gratitudes.
to say. Be in the present moment, live in the present moment. If you don't remember, if somebody says you don't remember what you did this weekend, you're getting old. No, I was living in the present moment.
I was just in the present.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So here's to
Great.
the present moment. Yes.
Boom. High five. That's right.
Boom shakalaka. So, all right. Well, thank y'all so much for joining us this week. Stay present, stay in the flow, and we'll see you next week. Have a great day.